As business owners, entrepreneurs, family men, it's difficult for us to find the time to put together projects like these. Even though it's something we really want to do, unfortunately, taking care of the things we have to take care of comes first. However, because of viewer support from people like you, we're able to continue doing this. Please consider joining our Patreon and supporting the Burn and Return podcast.
It's the podcast.
You're listening to Burn and Return, a weekly 1-hour podcast covering news from the agricultural and turfgrass industries.
With the DJ Scratch, you know what that means. It means it's time for another episode of Burn and Return. It's the first of the year, and you know what that means. Slowly but surely, the temperature is heating up, and boy, is it starting to get spicy. It's election year, so we know that brings out the crazies. But beyond that, we have the world on the brink of World War III. We have multiple civil wars on the verge of kicking off. Man, what a time to be alive! I gotta say, we're gonna talk about Gen Z a little later, and sometimes when I look at the State of the Union and then the state of the global scale, I'm like, maybe I'm a little hard on Zoomers from time to time. Maybe, I don't know. We'll get there, and when we get to that article, we'll get it figured out. My name is Matt. Sometimes I go by the Grass Factor. Martin, you can find me quoted by Leads Today on Twitter. Mr. Steve Lead Today. I'm sorry, Steve Keating quoted me on Twitter today. DeMay is the one who brought this to my attention. DeMay, do you think he was actually quoting me or another Matt Martin out there?
Hard to say. I mean, it jives with what you say, and he's got 1 million subscribers, so I'd take credit for it.
Yeah,
He did reply.
No.
I quote tweeted it and was like, I'm shocked you found one that didn't have 4-letter words in it. And he's like, turfgrass does better in the presence of 4-letter words. I was like, man, I like this guy. I'd hang out with him for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe you can find me quoted on at Lead Today. Thank you, Mr. Steve Keating. It's interesting seeing the old timers get into being social media influencers. I bet what a time to be alive. We're in one. Anyway, alongside me, we have Ryan DeMay and Ray Ito. Gentlemen, how the hell are y'all doing?
Doing great. You know, as we were talking about here in the pre-show, and you alluded to here in the opening, it's a good time to get those pre-market trades in for the defense stocks and the military-industrial complex. So if you haven't talked to your broker yet, please do. Yeah, Raytheon. Oh yeah,
Nancy Pelosi. There's anyway. Hi Ray, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Ray's
I'm
really
good.
gonna lift this up a notch.
Yeah. I mean, you know I play the role. I play the role. I mean, I'm the bearer of sunshine.
Ray, who in Congress is going to have the best stock trades over the next 12 months, if you had to guess?
I probably guess all of the seniors in Congress.
Yeah.
All of the old timers that should have been voted out at least 2 election cycles ago.
Listen, here's my question. Do you think, and for those of you that don't like the political talk, I'm sorry. This is just what we need to do to remain creative. Do you think that Lindsey Graham made his futures trade before he sent the tweet to bomb Tehran, or after he sent the tweet to bomb Tehran?
Before he sent that tweet, for sure. I mean, you gotta
before, most definitely before. I mean,
I heard that
Okay.
he went ahead and bought a bunch of naked calls fitting for Lindsey Graham too. As soon as he heard about the drone strikes and before it made it to the news, just to catch a little bit on the upswing as much as he could, because naked
Of
calls
course.
pay a hell of a lot more than covered calls. Just saying. Um. Anyway, I can't stand Lindsey Graham. My God. Let's check out this week's headlines. How about that? I'm sure these are going to be real uplifting, right? I'm going to feel great about them. Actually, I might get a little hype over the headlines. I'm not gonna lie, which as we get later into it. Out of Florida, they are wondering: will Florida ban local fertilizer ordinances with summer bans? Treasure Coast elected officials defended decade-old local ordinances that regulate lawn fertilizer, including a summer rainy season ban, in the wake of critics questioning their effectiveness. A legislature commission study, which the University of Florida released December 22nd, said a comprehensive study is needed to determine whether the ordinances curb water pollution from fertilizers that can feed algae blooms. Existing studies aren't thorough enough, the University of Florida study says. Now the legislature must decide whether to fund a comprehensive study and who to hire to conduct it. Even if lawmakers forgo the study, they must decide whether to extend a moratorium they passed last year on local governments enforcing, strengthening, or passing new fertilizer ordinances, permanently ban local ordinances and make their weaker state ordinance the law of the land, do nothing and let the moratorium expire July 1. Really? You're going to ask a bureaucrat to do nothing? Yeah, good luck with that.
You wish.
Yeah. Treasure Coast leaders want local fertilizer ordinances. Let's get to the crux of the idea here, right? If you've got power, you sure as shit want to use it, don't you? What's the cost to the public and taxpayers if we continue to put fertilizer contaminants in our waterways, but spend billions and billions of dollars trying to remove it? Fertilizer ordinances galvanized Republicans, Democrats, and independents across the board so we can all agree on one thing, and that is we need to clean up our waterways. What's my favorite about this is that what's being proposed is funding a study to prove the impact that lawn fertilizer has on these things that they're insinuating happens. What happens if they conduct this study because University of
Mhm.
Florida said we don't have enough data to say whether it's working or not? What if they did fund this and they turned out yeah, uh, hmm,
It doesn't
it
fucking
didn't,
matter.
yeah, it
Yeah, it don't
doesn't
matter.
do anything.
It doesn't matter because here's
But
what happens when Florida enacts these blackout periods during the peak of growth season. What then happens is you have numbnut throwing down their annual max between October through April. And you cannot tell me that that is not being done because have we not seen that kind of recommendations coming off of the YouTube? Have we not?
Yeah, and let me go a little further because this is going to go right into what you're saying here. Jackie Thurlow Lipich, a former South Florida Water Management District board member and former Sewell Point mayor who fought for the town's fertilizer ordinance, says, "I don't trust our state government to not try to take our rights away. Local government has its part in society for its local flavor and character, especially when it's something like trying to protect the environment." Again, I mean, I think that's a fair concern, right?
It's a fair concern. However, you want to talk about taking away rights and doing more harm than good. These arbitrary fertilizer bans and blackouts,
Yeah.
I think they serve to, I think, cause more harm than good because what's at play here is the law of unintended consequences.
Well, not only
Specifically,
that. Go ahead. Go.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, and specifically, what I'm talking about is you tell people they cannot apply fertilizer for 6 months out of the year in a place that has an almost 12-month long growing season. I am extremely naive to think that they're not going to make up what they couldn't apply during the peak growing season in the off season, therefore causing more
Yep.
harm than good. I mean, because if I were God, I would say no fertilizer ban. However, I would look at actual rates of material supplied overall. I mean, that's how I would look at it. Is I'd consider rates.
Go ahead, DeMay. What were you going to say?
All I was going to say is this: is that I understand there's the agronomic side of this, right, which has pros and cons, and then there's also the political element, which is basically saying that the state government here has what they call a scheme, and that's not like a bad scheme or an illegal scheme, but there is a codified
Sure.
way that the state regulates fertilizer in Florida, and all 50 states have this, right? So why would we allow a local government to do something that the state is already regulating? That would be my question. And this is what happens, right? So like, yes, they're right that there's local flavor and everything like that, but that local flavor, can change very rapidly, right? In an election
Well, I
cycle
mean,
Mhm.
you
too.
think about. I'm
And
gonna let you finish, but look at even the climate from like Miami to the Panhandle, right? I mean, it's honestly like living in two different areas. Go ahead, finish your thought. I'm just pointing
yeah,
that out that I can see where local should have a greater influence.
should have a greater influence, but again, who should be doing that? Should that be the local government? And what type are all those governments going to have equal resources to be able to research, legislate, enforce, and apply that law? That would be my question, and I don't think you can say
Mhm.
that definitively. So that's where I don't agree that this should be a home rule issue or a local issue. While understanding too, you're right that there's climate issues, there's other things, right, that need to be taken into account, but that's for the state to figure out. That's a state problem in my book.
That's a state problem, and furthermore, again, look at the lack of thinking ahead and unintended consequences, and also did or has there ever been definitive proof that turf fertilizer applications are the problem? No.
Well, we don't. Yeah, that's why I think the UF study here that they mentioned here that this
This is important. Yeah, they gotta figure
University
this
of
out.
Florida study they don't know. They basically have said they don't know, and they need more
Mhm.
work on this, right? So, again, from an applicator's perspective, if I was in Florida and I was a lawn care operator, I damn sure would be calling up my state legislatures and saying, "Hey, let them find out. Let's give them the money, right? Because the state's got
Mhm.
money to solve these issues, right? Let's give the University of Florida the money to investigate the questions that came out of that research and figure out what the hell's going on here. Because in some way, shape, or form, this is affecting my business and my ability to do business when I need to do
Mhm.
it, right? Dictated by the
Mhm.
weather and the climate and grasses and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, it goes on to talk about in the article, and I'll just mention this one part and we'll move on. But it says a 2023 study traced 79% of the nitrogen in the Indian River Lagoon to septic systems and 21% to lawn fertilizer. The bulk came
Believe
from
it.
human waste in the northern liquid, right? Right. Here's the
Stop
problem
Whoa.
with
shitting.
it is the 21% gets punished for the 79%, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that puts even more pressure on it to go ahead and fund the study and figure this out. And then hopefully reasonable minds can come together and reach some sort of whatever end game that works for everyone. But again, this is politics. Someone will probably end up dead, or what was it? I think didn't someone accuse DeSantis's wife of faking breast cancer? And I mean, it's Lord have mercy. The State of the Union is something else. We'll move on to the next one here. French farmers aim to put Paris under siege in tractor protests. I think J Pink shared a video in the the
Yes.
Discord today. It showed a guy running a soil ripper right through a road, lifting asphalt off the ground. And I'm not going to lie, I am here for it. France's
Matt,
Interior Ministry on Sunday. Do I?
I I saw the video of French farmers taking their manure sludge truck and spraying the French government buildings with doo-doo.
Yeah.
Okay?
It
Brown
just
doo-doo water.
that is really exciting to me. I don't know why. They ordered a large deployment of security forces around Paris as angry farmers threatened to head towards the capital hours after climate activists hurled
Oh,
soup
lovely.
at the glass protecting the Mona Lisa, painting at the Louvre. French farmers are putting pressure on the government to respond to their demands for better remuneration for their produce, less red tape, and protection against cheap imports. Speaking after an emergency meeting on Sunday evening, Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said 15,000 police officers are being deployed mostly in the Paris region. Darmanin said he ordered security forces to prevent any blockade of Rungis International Market, which supplies the capital and surrounding region with much of its fresh food, and Paris airports as well, to go ban any convoy of farmers from entering the capital and any other big city. He said that helicopters will monitor convoys of tractors. That sounds Darwinian. Farmers of the Rural Coordination Union in the Lot-de-Garonne region, where the protesters originated, said they plan to use their tractors Monday to head towards the Rungis International Market. France's two biggest farmers' unions said in a statement that their members based in areas surrounding the Paris region would seek to block all major roads to the capital with the aim of putting the city under siege. Two climate activists hurled soup at the Mona Lisa at the Louvre and shouted slogans advocating for a sustainable food system. In a video posted on social media, two women with the words "food riposte" written on their T-shirts can be seen passing under a security barrier to get closer to the painting and throwing soup at the glass, preventing Da Vinci's masterpiece. What's the most important thing? Art. Right to healthy and sustainable food. Our farming system is sick. Our farmers are dying at work. The Louvre employees could then be seen putting black panels in front of the Mona Lisa and telling everybody to get the F out. Anyway, sounds like the EU is having fun with everything that's going on over there. I know. I think this kind of ties into the next one here. And look, when we talk like a lot of the chaos that's going on in the EU right now, like this is also kind of a side piece of what's going on when they talk about red tape and protecting against cheap imports. EU is looking at their own special bans and where they're getting real weird about restricting things in the EU, but they will import shit from, say, like Africa that's grown with the same things that are banned in the EU because they can get it cheaper because there's less red tape. Makes a lot of sense, right? Like that's
Make it make
the way to
sense.
handle it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In Brussels, legal advisors to the European Parliament have argued that the European Union doesn't follow its own rules on approving pesticides, a potentially explosive opinion that could support challenges against the EU's executive decision to reauthorize the use of glyphosate for another 10 years. The secret opinion, drafted in 2022, obtained by Politico, analyzes a ruling by the Court of Justice of the EU, which found that all pesticides sold in the EU market should be proven not to be toxic or carcinogenic in the long term. But amid legal ambiguity, regulators do not always require pesticide companies to provide such evidence. The opinion-related document suggests Pascal Canfin, chair of the Parliament's Environmental Committee, took up the matter with the Food Safety Commission, who, in correspondence obtained by Politico, acknowledged procedural shortcomings, informing him the remedial steps she was taking and promised to continue working on the matter. They're asking for direct action. 21 environmental activists were arrested after storming stores in the French department Ariège. In the stores, they damaged bottles and glass display cases of Roundup. When prosecuted, the group argued that they were acting in the public interest because the pesticide should never been approved for sale in the first place. The World Health Organization had concluded a few years ago that if they selectively chose data from all the other meta-analyses that have been performed, they could fabricate an idea that glyphosate was probably carcinogenic, along with a host of other things like table salt. What else is on the list of the World Health Organization's probably carcinogenic? Probably
red meat.
Yeah,
Red meat.
yeah.
Red meat, right, Matt? I
Cocaine?
mean, so
I
Yeah.
don't think cocaine even made it
Yeah,
on the
but
list.
red meat, table salt,
Organic
and
cocaine?
yeah, and glyphosate. And so you know what that
IARC Group
means?
2A. There we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray. I'm looking this up.
Creosotes.
Okay. Creosotes. Yeah. Okay, here's the irony, Matt. The most powerful chemotherapy drugs are literally listed as carcinogens. And what I'm talking about is cisplatin, uh,
Mhm.
nitrogen mustard,
Uh-huh.
procarbazine. And these are lovely stuff. This is the shit that makes your hair fall out when they give it to you, by the way. This is the good shit.
Time's up. It's over.
Okay,
Yeah, all right.
doxorubicin.
So, real quick, we do have creosotes. We have frying, like high temperature frying and the emissions from it. Burning wood,
Mhm.
non-arsenical insecticides, red meat, mate or very hot beverages, hot teas,
Mhm.
night shift work, hairdressers. Yeah, all of those are probable
Girl's name
carcinogenic.
Tiffany.
Yeah, malaria is another one to look out for. So, you know, I think it's probably that is not a probable carcinogen. That's the self-delete word. Anyway, things are getting weird over there, and if it's not weird enough in the EU, yeah, guess what? They are revisiting this glyphosate thing. They can't take it. They've had enough. It's too many heads are exploding. And look, this is what happens when the media gets behind something, right? I almost said the industrial media complex, which I might as well say that, right? Um,
Go ahead, Matt.
corporate media. How about that? When corporate media makes a decision on something and the weight of corporate media all falls in line behind it, if you say anything to the contrary, you're open to all kinds of shit being thrown at you. And in this particular instance, I don't think the okay a big media campaign to ban glyphosate occurs. They suddenly ban it. Within 3 years, people start starving to death. Does the media accept responsibility for that, or
No.
do they turn it around and say, you know, it's climate change, it's
You see,
this
Matt,
is happening, global
here's
unrest. They're going to create some other boogeyman, right? That they can point at and be like, this is the problem.
this is the
Um,
problem, and they don't take accountability. And you know what, Matt? You know how I'm very anti-government?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
Really?
I'm
me
even
too.
more anti-media. I am actually anti-media, where I think that the world would be a fantastic place if the following were all chained together and thrown into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Number one, doctors, attorneys, government officials. And then lastly, anybody having anything to do with the media. They all get drowned in the Marianas Trench. There.
Look, and this is what frustrates me about it, right? And I don't care where anyone falls on their ideas of if they read a news article and they disagree with it, I have no problem with that. If someone releases a scientific study and they call into question the materials and methods, I've got no problem with that. The problem becomes when you question it and then you see shit in the news that says like we have a major problem in America. You should let the scientist do the science and you trust the science. And it's
Mhm.
like, look, you're talking to me as if I'm a 12-year-old, and it's insulting. And if I want to ask questions, I should be able to ask questions. But they're saying, no, 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 you don't need to ask questions. We'll tell you what you need to know when you
And
need
it
to know
is
it.
the unaccountable corporate media talking to you like that. And that is where I think what would really improve the world is if those guys end up at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Okay, I mean all of them. I mean, I'm not picking on one individual news outlet either, because I've been accused of being partisan. I've been accused of being a Trump supporter. Bullshit. Because you know who's first on my list to end up at the bottom of the ocean? Fox News. They're first. Okay, they're actually first.
DeMay, you're a voice of reason. I know we need to move on, but bring it back here. Am I being too conspiratorial with the? I have a favorite quote from Michael Malice, and Michael Malice says something along the lines of media should be regarded in the same way the public regards tobacco executives, and I agree with that. I think they're violent, hungry for violence terrorists.
How do I want to say this? I think if you watch and see how, things were covered, say, like 50 years ago, and how whitewashed things got, right? I almost feel like there's some type of repentance on the other side that's come full circle here that some, maybe even the majority of them, feel like that media members need to go over the top in coverage of things. And so yeah, I do think that things get sensationalized, and I think things like this that tug on heartstrings, but I also think that it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the people that believe it then end up in positions of power and are decision makers, and ultimately that is what fuels even more of it, right? So it's not media maybe gets it started or adds fuel to the fire, things like that, but at the end of the day, people have to make a decision. Is this really what we should be hanging our hats on to be worried about, or are there other things out there? And
I liked your Freudian slip of self-soiling prophecy. I think
self-soiling prophecy. Yes.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
I thought that was good.
Good. Yeah. Let's check out this week's Joe Knows Turf. How about that?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Joe Knows Turf.
I'm nervous.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm gonna give you a bunch of accurate turf facts today because
Joe knows turf.
Well, gentlemen, this one was sent to us here a few weeks back, and we have not had a chance to review it yet because, again, we were neck deep in Ron Henry issues last week, and I didn't get a chance to review. And I think you guys talked about it Thursday show when I was not here, but just wanted to say to our lone commenter that didn't like what we had to say, that what was it, that we were ruining the lawn care YouTube community. Breaks my fucking heart.
I'm so upset. By the way, DeMay, just gonna throw that out there. Hey, Travis.
Listen, did Travis get his shirt yet, J Pink?
I think he did. Let me go. I can look it up.
Please let us know. I haven't seen Ron Henry wear one. Wait, I have not seen Ron Henry wear his on his live stream yet, but I'm hopeful.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's
coming. All right. So this video comes to us from somebody we've met, and not a bad dude. I have no ill will here. I just, we're going to take the content in this particular case and watch through it.
Everybody's susceptible.
We'll see what happens here. All right, so J Pink, let's go ahead and play. We might need to skip through a little bit in the front side, but let's go ahead and see what's going on.
What's going on, guys? My name's Clint. If it's your first time,
I know Clint,
and I do a lot of product reviews, and I do a lot of lawn care stuff. And we're here in January and it's 40 some degrees outside, and I've developed a fungus on my lawn in the middle of winter. We should be covered in snow, but we're not. And December, it was in the mid 50s, high 40s, and it was rain. Then it get cold, hot, very humid. And now I've developed a fungus on my lawn. And my lawn's not growing, but I have a fungus on there. Normally this stuff kind of happens in the springtime or summertime when it gets really hot and humid, but we have a winter fungus here that I've never experienced before. So talk to my buddy Dave.
Hey, can you pause it real quick? Just real quick before we get into this, okay? I see that he's talking to, is that an assistant super up there? I want you to talk to me like I'm a 4-year-old, DeMay. Or I've been in the industry for 14 years, or I've been in the industry for 40 years. I don't care. You just talk to me however you want to, DeMay. If I have grass that is not growing, and I want to repair an area that has been damaged by a fungus, and I apply a fungicide, does the fungicide make the damaged grass undamaged? Or does it have to grow out even though it doesn't grow right now?
Remember this: the ointment doesn't make the sores go away. It stops the spores from spreading, right? In your nether regions, and the skin grows back, much the same way in grass, right? So, if you will, a fungicide, if we're going to get real specific here, Ray, should not really be called a fungicide. Rather, it should be called a fungistat, right? Because it just it stops the spread of future infection sites.
Yeah, it just and it also just prevents further and future infection. So that's kind of where I get really snippy with people when they hop up and down about disease spots in their turf, because my words to them are often, you know what, pal? It's too fucking late. It's fun.
Man, I'll tell you what. I was gonna, when Ray gets reincarnated as an oncologist, I want to be there for it.
This is what I was gonna say. In any other setting, if I would have gone up to DeMay in a bar, all right, we're out, and I'm running to, DeMay, I'm like, dude, hey man, I got this question. I got this grass. It's not growing right now, and it is eat up with snow mold, for example. I'm gonna go ahead and put a fungicide now and make all that damaged grass undamaged. He would slap me and he'd be like, buddy, I want you to pull your head out of your ass and wake the fuck up. And I probably would wake up, and I'd be like, I don't know why you had to do that though. And he was like, because you said you were going to go undead, dead grass that isn't growing. I'd be like, oh yeah. Sorry about that. That's not ruining the industry. That's just keeping us in check. We'll go ahead with the video. Sorry, I'm blabbering.
Keep going. I think it gets
better. He got me in touch with a couple websites and stuff like that. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go out on the lawn real quick. This is January 5th. It was warm all through December. I mean, we were pushing 56, 57 degrees. Like I said, it's January 5th. We're almost at 40 degrees right now, or like 30, 35, 40, whatever. And yeah, the grass, it was warm, it was raining, and I saw it starting, and the grass isn't really growing.
It's pretty cool.
But I started to get this. Take a look at this. Let me turn you around here. Look at that. Look at this. It is all over. It goes all through the lawn. All the way over. There's like
pause.
Stop.
Oh no. All right. So for those of you listening on audio, it just flashed up on the screen.
Pythium.
One, he's saying this is cool. This is Pythium blight.
Yeah.
Pythium founder. So like I don't know. Let's see where he goes with this.
And my here, I'm gonna bring you to the other side too. Look at this. All the way down here. Whew. It is all over here. Look at this bad spot right here. It is like, it's really bad. And let me just bring you up front here. Look at it. Travels all the way.
Maybe it's just a little too juiced going into wintertime. I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating.
Okay.
Continue.
And for those who are listening on audio or on podcast, what Ryan is referring to is compared to all of the other lawns in the neighborhood, it looks to me like good old boy's lawn here has got so much nitrogen on it that you can see it from outer space.
It's extra green. Looks good, but there's also, there's a point of diminishing returns that we may have crossed over here.
Pythium blight? We'll keep going.
Front
yeah,
here.
there's no Pythium blight.
Look at it. Travels all the way over.
Sure sounds like
And
microdocium
this
weather.
spot got it real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
It does.
Okay, so you see what I'm dealing with. It is to me, it looks like it's Pythium spreading around, but regardless, it's a fungus. So what I've learned here from the internet is that there is.
Regardless, it's a fungus is okay. There's an important
fungus
thing here. Well, there's an important point of order here, right? Because Ray, Pythium, right, is an oomycete fungicide. It's the way it spreads, right? It's motile in water. It moves with water, and really, the only way to get it is in very, very hot, humid times, right? When we also have high humidity, lots of water around, and everything like that. Not necessarily what you would see in the Midwest in December.
Midwest in cool weather.
If I recall correctly, real quick, it was Ben Sims in Australia did a test, and there are certain perennial ryegrasses that are susceptible to Pythium root rot in cool weather.
Oh, PRR.
And I learned that from him because he submitted his sample to his local whatever they do in Australia, and I was blown away. I was like, whoa. I thought toilet spun backwards there. I didn't know they gave you data too.
There you go.
Joke. Terrible joke.
All right, let's see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
There's a systemic fungicide, which is what we normally use, which is a propiconazole, zoxystrobin. These are common ones that we use all the time in the spring and the summertime to fix fungus. And what that does is it goes onto the plant soaks it up, gets into the root system and everything, and then it cures the fungus by plant absorption. But there is one that I never knew about, which is a contact fungicide, which is this one right here. And Quality Pro sells this stuff for an astronomical amount of money because you got to buy like a 2.5 gallon. The product in here is called chloranthophyll.
Chlorothalonil.
We're going to call this chloranthophyll. And when you buy the Quality Pro one,
we're going to call it Taconil.
Do my own. It's like a 2.5 gallon.
We're going to call that not labeled for resident.
And the percentage on it, I think, is 54%
of
what this is. This right here was $30 on Amazon. This is for plant and shrubs, but it has the same product in it, but it has half the amount. It has 29% in here. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of doubling it up and putting it in my I got a new Pet to Spray here, battery powered, because all my other tanks are cleaned out. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna mix this up real quick. As you can see right here.
Pause. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna leave it there for a second.
Oh my god.
Okay. So first, you have to give Matt a minute here to compose himself. There's a few things going on here. Number one, Clint has decided to use a fungicide that is not labeled for residential turf. Ray, the fungicide in question here is chlorothalonil, is the chemical name. Would you care to explain why chlorothalonil is not labeled for residential turf? And then we'll talk about some of the other things that are wrong here before we proceed.
Well, the main reason why chlorothalonil is not labeled for residential turf is because chlorothalonil was found to be extremely toxic via skin contact and eye contact, especially in children and domestic animals. So that's the reason why. No, Ryan, my understanding is that right now, current labeled uses of chlorothalonil include industrial turf, sod farms, and golf greens. And I understand the reason, and I understand the reason why, Ryan, because those are places where children and domestic animals are unlikely to contact sprayed turf. And as an aside, I can speak to the skin toxicity of chlorothalonil. That is one of the active ingredients that I absolutely must not touch. I must
Okay.
not.
So the next thing here is that he chose not to use the actual version that's labeled for turf in the settings that Ray described, which are professional sports fields, golf courses, and some industrial sites. No recreational turf, no school sports fields, and no residential lawns, commercial or otherwise, right? So he did not want to buy that container because of the size and the cost, so he decided to go to Amazon, buy a product that was labeled for shrubs and trees, I believe, and
Yeah, bonide.
in bonide. So in doing so, figured out that the active ingredient concentration in this product was about half, a little more than half of what the rates were for the product labeled for professional turf. And so he just sought to effectively double the rate of this product to
Just double it.
2 glugs instead of 1 glug. Sure.
Yeah, and I gotta kind of highlight one more little issue with chlorothalonil is that even in those uses that you mentioned, Ryan,
Yes.
the professional sports fields, the golf greens, and the industrial turf, the EPA is in the process of further reducing permitted label use rates of chlorothalonil on those sites because chlorothalonil is also a severe aquatic pollutant. When this gets into
so you don't want to
waterways,
use it like close to water?
yeah, because you see, you do this near bodies of water. Let me tell you, the fish and the shellfish living in that body of water will not appreciate it. Chlorothalonil is extremely toxic to aquatic life. I mean, it's poison to them. So, I mean, this is just wrong, and wrong. And you know what, Matt? I'm totally cringing right now because you know how I replied to that guy that commented on your, on our Ron Henry didn't read the label video? I stated that, these product labels, they're actually a contract between the EPA and the product manufacturer permitting their sale and usage of that product within the United States.
Yep.
All right, let's continue here.
Kind of looks
It gets worse.
milky, almost like azoxystrobin. Propiconazole is kind of like gray. This stuff looks like azoxystrobin. And we're going to mix this all up and go spray. As you can see here, the lawn is really bad. And what this contact fungicide is supposed to do...
Time out. Just a couple things here. He opened the container, stuck a gloved finger in there, okay? And then proceeded to, just for the camera, to smell and smile. I don't know, Ray, what would you say? 6 inches from his face, something like that.
Waft it.
About there.
Waft, yeah. What's the chemistry teacher say? Waft. Don't sniff.
Waft.
Don't sniff. Waft it towards their face. Yeah.
All right, and then let's go ahead and play this video.
All up.
Now,
what this contact fungicide...
he paused. He's outside. He's spraying now with a pump sprayer. It's like a flat fan tip. And he's got looks like chemical resistant rubber boots, but
nice boots. I like
he's
boots.
wearing basketball shorts. So there is a portion of exposed skin between about just below his kneecap up to the top of his patella.
Oh, and I gotta mention a couple more things on PPE, Ryan.
Please.
Okay, due to the skin toxicity of chlorothalonil,
Yeah,
you also need gloves that are more durable and resistant than disposable gloves. One,
yeah, you need
and
nitrile.
second of all, and secondly, I don't think I see our man with a face shield or chem-resistant goggles, because I got to tell you, there is one special hazard of chlorthalonil that I have been aware of for a long time. You notice how on a chlorthalonil bottle it says danger, may cause irreversible eye damage.
Oh God.
Seek immediate medical attention in case of eye contact. I mean, and so my concern is I don't want our man here to have a funky rash or go blind, and I don't want his children or his dog or his cat to have skin burns on their feet. I really don't want that for them.
I mean, here's another thing. Go ahead.
I don't think he does either. No, go. Yeah, you go ahead, DeMay.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to say too is when you're spraying a product like this, and I'm saying this as somebody who messed this up for a long time and learned my lesson in a very, very hard fashion, is, he's got that vest and the sweatshirt on that are like his usual. Maybe he wore that vest at the grocery store or something like that, or go home and wash it.
Oh dear,
wash it.
yeah.
There's lots of bad things that you can do with these products. All right, let's play it and watch a little bit longer here.
Pesticide is supposed to do is opposed to the systemic, it gets absorbed. This is contact. It's supposed to stop the spreading of the fungus that I have going on in my lawn. Once again,
and he's walking
I'm not
right
a
through it.
PhD turf nerd that's going to break this all down. I just went on the internet, went to a couple websites.
Ryan, when we met up with Palmer in Knoxville back in 2021,
yeah,
I showed Palmer a technique where, if I have a flat fan nozzle on the end of a boom, I have a way of handling it so that I'm not walking straight into the spray.
Yeah, Palmer has it on video.
No, and you know where I learned that from, Matt? You know how I learned how to do that with the fan
How's
tip?
that?
When I had to spray field edges at my grandfather's farm with paraquat and diuron.
Yeah. Keep going, JP.
And this is what is highly suggested that I do, is that to stop the spreading and killing of my lawn, because we're so warm right now and humid and we're not getting any snow and it's not drying out. I got this fungus. This contact is supposed to stop everything from spreading.
Where you
this
live,
isn't going to
it is
cure
not
it.
warm and
it is
humid,
just
my
to
guy.
Stop it, because it's taking over my lawn and the lawn is not growing. So I'm not mixing any other fungicides with this. I'm just using this straight up with water. And now let's get back inside. All right, guys, now that we're done, I like to keep my stuff all nice and clean. All my tanks were clean. I didn't want to mess with them. All the batteries are put away. Petra just sent me this brand new one here because I got some liquid ice melt. That's for another time, but when I get snow. But no, I like to keep my stuff clean, and I'm going to be using some liquid ice melt in here later, so I don't want to be spraying any of this fungicide on my driveway. We walk on the driveway. I don't want to bring any of this stuff into the house. So what I like to do with all my tanks is, this is from Liquid Harvest. This is called Blazer. So it's a very high concentrate to clean your tank. It says on here, it's crazy. Like for 300 gallons, you got to do this potion. I did the math, and then also if you look on Do My Own website, it's 0.32 ounces per gallon. So
I'm not gonna lie,
all filled up.
I'm not sure I trust your math. I definitely don't trust Do My Own's because you compare an active ingredients and just if I can, I'll double it. So I mean,
all
right.
Pardon me, I love you, Clint, but I'm just not going to trust your math on right there.
So to be fair, this video has been unlisted. I would assume because Clint got some advice that, hey, what you did there is in violation of the label and shouldn't do that. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he just didn't like basketball shorts he wore. Yeah. So
some jump cuts.
In any event, this is there's a lot of things going on here. Don't be the guy that sprays something that is not labeled. Number one. Number two is if you have the inclination to roll your own, don't just double it.
There are
And
ways to math into it based on pounds of AI per gallon, which is stated on the label.
Yes.
And that right now, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, there is no labeled contact fungicide for turf grass in a residential setting.
Not anymore. It's all gone. I mean,
Yeah, so chlorothalonil, fluazanam, which is secure, and then mancozeb.
Oh.
Those are the only three I ever knew.
I know an older one, Captan.
Oh yeah, Captan.
I know an older,
yeah.
I know an older one. I mean, Captan was the standard for Pisium and Rhizoctonia back in the old days. I mean, but then that too, the reason why that got yanked is because just when I saw chlorothalonil was eye and skin toxic, Captan was many orders worse in that regard. Way worse.
Yeah, and look, Glenn, I'm not going to say I'm better than you or anything, because when I was on the golf course, we sprayed chlorothalonil every week, every 7 days, and at the time, I smoked a lot of cigarettes, and I may or may not have barehanded stirred my Toro tank before. So it is what it is. We all learn our lessons. I hope you learned your lesson and choose to do better. And that's the whole point of our show, is to encourage people to do better, to be better every day. All right, let's check out this week's burns. You know the guy that's got a cigarette dangling. Because at the time I smoked so many cigarettes, I never took it out of my mouth the entire time. So I just have a cigarette dangling and give it the old swirl. Get a good swirl going in there. Boy, Brighton. This is coming out of the UK here. The use of a controversial pesticide will be reintroduced by Brighton and Hove City Council less than 5 years after it pledged to become pesticide free. What? The local authority said it since it stopped using glyphosate in 2019, Brighton's weed problem has gotten out of control, with some streets inaccessible to wheelchair users, parents and carers with buggies, and those with visual or mobility impairments. Look, I've got a visually impaired person in my family, and if it was a giant dandelion that was blocking his way and the town told me that they would jail me for using glyphosate, I'm not going to lie. I can't say that. A committee this week agreed that the council will restart using glyphosate this spring. Using a controlled droplet application. It makes a pesticide with an oil that helps it stick. With an oil? With glyphosate?
Hang on, Matt. Let me put this into perspective. Is that in England or the UK, they actually have a special application system that involves thickened glyphosate in concentrated form as a controlled droplet spinning disc applicator. They call it the Nomix system.
Okay. So it's emulsified. It's not.
Yeah, it's like a special carrier that is designed
like an encapsulation of sorts.
I think so. I mean, what it is that it's made so that this battery-powered spinning disc applicator will fling droplets of glyphosate in like a wide arc. And the cool thing about this applicator is that each droplet is essentially exactly the same size, so there's minimal risk of overspray or drift using this particular type of applicator.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, and you know what the beautiful part about this is, Matt, is you know how everybody goes crazy about how they can spray with a permagreen at only, say, 10 to 15 gallon per acre?
Sure.
This controlled droplet application system can make the application at approximately a gallon per acre.
Attaboy. The local authority pointed out in 2023 the EU approved the use of glyphosate for another 10 years. The Pesticide Action Network said it found harm to pets and wildlife, including bees. And the IARC has labeled the pesticide as probably carcinogenic to humans, along with red meat and hot tea. So there's more than 50 councils in the UK that have gone pesticide. The UK is worried about glyphosate. Or do they drink cold tea in England? those
No,
No.
grubby
not tea.
bastards.
No. And okay, I
this
got
is-
another question
this
for you,
is
Rand.
stupid.
Do the people in the UK consume alcohol? That's another probable carcinogen because, okay, I have met people from England, and you know what? The
They like to
English
drink.
are fucking drunks, okay? They're fucking drunks. So they're worried about
Hello,
a
mirror.
little bit of glyphosate. Yeah, a little bit of glyphosate. And, this goes back to my beef with all of these environmentalists where they give no regard to human needs or human health. Because, by the way, when somebody trips over big weeds growing out of the sidewalk, to me, that is a bigger health hazard than a controlled and selective application of glyphosate. That's a bigger health hazard. I mean, because have you ever tripped over something that you didn't expect to be there and busted your head wide open?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
it was my brother throwing me into a wall, but close enough.
yeah, but you see, I can just see where this is going. Where these environmental people, what they're saying is, we don't care what potential or actual problems are caused by this environmental mandate, but I sum it up in the form of weeds are more important than the lives of people. Let that soak in, everybody. That's what this group says. It's like, oh, weed lives matter. People don't matter. People can go die.
Careful, you're barking into a crazy world there. The AG sues local snow and lawn companies. Michigan
Oh.
Attorney General Dana Nessel recently filed a lawsuit against businesses with local ties. The lawsuit was filed in Oakland County's Sixth Circuit Court and seeks to prohibit John and Michelle Church from incorporating, operating, or working for any business offering snow removal, lawn care, or landscaping services. According to the claims in the lawsuit, the churches and their business entities repeatedly and knowingly violated the Michigan Consumer Protection Act and previously established assurance and voluntary compliance agreement reached to settle previous consumer claims mediated by the Department of Attorney Generals. John and Michelle Church own and operate several incorporated business entities, including Metro Mow and Snow, the Snow Guys, and John Church's Snow Service. The release states the pair also operates several non-incorporated business entities, including Farmington Mow and Snow, Snow Guy Enterprises, Titan Seasonal Services, Friendly Neighborhood Lawn Services, Friendly Lawn Care, Friendly Lawn and Snow, blah, 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 blah. The businesses have offered residential snow removal, lawn care, and landscaping services in the Troy area for over 2 decades. The AG has received more than 200 consumer complaints pertaining to the businesses back to 2010, with unlawful business practices being alleged. A formal investigation was initiated in 2017 that resulted in an ABC being filed in 2018. The church has agreed to cease unfair or deceptive business practices, to not create any new same-service entities without knowing the DAG, to pay a $15,000 fine, and to compensate any affected customers, and to compensate the DAG for investigative costs. Anyway, it goes on to say the Federal Consumer Review Fairness Act ensures the legal right of consumers to publish and post reviews of goods and services provided by businesses, according to the release. The AG lawsuit alleges that various iterations of contracts the church's businesses required customers to sign included a non-disparagement clause that served to confuse consumers about their rights to take action, to caution other consumers, or to complain to regulatory agencies such as the Department of Attorney General if such complaints or reviews could harm the reputation of the business. Doing so constitutes an illegal violation of the MCPA, according to the release. It sounds like these people are scumbags. I'm not going to lie. Right.
Scammers, Matt. They are scammers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shitbags.
Scammers.
And this is why, as a profession, we're treated with contempt or mistrust or whatever, right? Because and I'm sure it's the same in every other industry, but fuck these people. Hopefully, they get sued by the attorney general, and maybe they'll open up some other type of business. But just get what's the quote from Matt Martin? Get the fuck out of
Get
my
the
industry. Is
fuck
that it?
out of my industry.
Yes.
That is, man, you
Yeah.
nailed it.
Can we send them a
Can we do it
bumper
again?
sticker with that?
Can we get that clean? Let's get it clean one more time.
Oh, from me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, Ryan. Absolutely. Send it.
get the fuck out of my industry.
God, I loved it. I came in too soon there at the end. I clipped it. But look, in all seriousness, this is a part where I wish that we could go knock on the church's door and be like, "Hi, I'm Matt Martin from the Grass Factor, and I'm here to whoop your ass." Just kidding. Kinda. Not really.
Not kidding, Spencer.
You are a fucking pussy.
I know. The last time I did that, they threatened to kill me. Jesus, loser. A frustrated landscaper expressed their disappointment after working on manicured lawns. Oh, DeMay, what is this? I quit my landscaping position 2 days into training because my job consisted of destroying ecosystems, wrote the Redditor. Of course it's a fucking Redditor. Why do so many
click on the
people's
article.
idea of
Go ahead, keep
beauty
going, keep
have
going.
to clash with what nature freely provides? It just makes me sad. I hear you. I worked on a golf course landscaping team while I was in college. I still can't believe how much labor, water, and herbicide/pesticide it takes to appease less than 1% of the county's population.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. They use herbicides and pesticides on that golf course. Listen,
God.
go up and click on, if you can, click on manicured lawns. Click on that hyperlink there.
I'll
So
go there.
this is from the subreddit called Fuck Lawns. So,
oh my God.
Oh,
so
man.
Matt, I just wanted to let you know I got you a gift tonight, and for the rest of this week, you can go into reddit.com/r/fuck lawns, and you can have yourself a party.
Yeah, I can. There are 46,500 members in here. Lord have mercy. My God. Look, I'm not gonna lie here. This user, Benji, let's see what else he's into. The cyberpunk game. He is into buildings in Fairhaven. Can't catch a break during the that's in R. Bellingham. The Taco Bell in
Seattle
Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. I can't take it anymore in Edge Runners. Welcome to Club Choom. Is this another game? Yeah, more cyberpunk stuff. Okay. Be more cyberpunk game, more Bellingham. Fuck cars. He hates that too. He hates lawns and cars. Void cats. I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna lie. This Gen Zer sounds like an absolute fucking loser, and I am glad he got the fuck out of our industry. Really glad.
You know what my regret is, though, Matt? You know what my regret is? That he hasn't unalived himself yet, because apparently he hates life, period, it sounds like. He just hates life. I mean, he does not appreciate what the modern world has to offer, because, Matt, I think this is another one of those people where if we were to strip them buck-ass naked and throw them into the forest somewhere and see if they survive for a week.
Can I read this to you here? So I'm looking through his comments, right? And he is in this bike commuting one, and someone asked how to avoid becoming paste on the road. And someone recommended wearing American flag jerseys or have an American flag patch on your riding shirt. And he said, it's insanity that an American flag could keep you alive. Just shows you how crazy some of these people are. You got to do what you got to do to survive. Other commenters say things like, it's super cringe and a defense mechanism when you live in an area where you're surrounded by these crazy nationalist mouth breather motherfuckers. I hate everyone. I mean, it is what it is. I like this one here where a lady says, I have a friend of mine who buys the pinkest, girliest jerseys because she thinks drivers give her a little more space when she dressed like that. So awful to have to resort to that. It's terrible.
Oh,
Okay.
I got a little. I got a little hint for all of these bicycle riders. Please stop wearing dark clothes that are hard to see. Okay, please stop doing that because even for myself, Matt, here's where it gets kind of squirrely and interesting. Technically, service workers working near public roadways are required to have high visibility, NC spec reflective clothing, right? How come pedestrians and bicyclists can dress in all black if they want, get run over, and then blame motorists? What the fuck is up with that?
I think what Ray's saying is that everybody should be like Lance, wear the yellow jersey and take steroids.
Yes.
Not
way to solve this.
Not above it, Lance. Not above it. Let's check out our returns real quick.
Return singular. Tough week on returns.
I am back. And you know who else is back? I don't know if you remember, but the Biden administration announced a $250 million incentive to boost domestic fertilizer production in the U.S. It's kind of coupled together at this point with renewable energy projects because let's be honest, what was it we read the other day that in by the year 2100 most things on the planet will be extinct. So I could see where we need to shift that away from domestic fertilizer and put it towards renewable energy. We're spending 207 on domestic fertilizer renewable energy projects as an effort to boost supplier competition for U.S. farmers and ranchers and help lower energy costs for agricultural products. USDA has awarded $50 million to be split among 7 projects in 7 states through the Fertilizer Production Expansion Program. The awards including building a fully automated fertilizer factory designed to manufacture custom products in Nebraska, a company in North Carolina buying and installing a new anaerobic digestion facility for producing organic fertilizer and ammonium sulfate. Does anybody remember the North Carolina pig farm anaerobic digester where the bladders kept?
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Oh,
I remember that.
Don't tell anyone. Additionally, the USDA is awarding $157 million for 675 projects located in 42 states to the Rural Energy for America program. The projects include installation of a solar array in Colorado that will help a wastewater treatment facility, the installation of a solar photovoltaic system on a soybean farm, the installation of an energy-efficient refrigeration system at a meat company that makes beef jerky, and more than $94 million of REAP funding is coming from the Inflation Reduction Act and awards to help farmers and agricultural producers cut energy costs and create new revenue streams. So, that $250 million. It looks like we're gonna do $50 million of it for fertilizer, and then the rest of it we're gonna pump towards solar arrays and refrigerators for beef jerky. Anyway, that was this week's episode. Go ahead. Trying to end on
say how else is deceased Randy Macho Man Savage going to snap into a Slim Jim if it's not frozen solid? Right?
DeMay, what is the point of making beef jerky if you have to fucking refrigerate it? That's all I'm saying. It's finished goods. I know raws.
That's a
just
a good
spoiled
question.
steak at that point.
You're wrong.
No, that's a good question because do you know what my attraction is to beef jerky and
I can leave it in the hot car all day and it's still just as delicious as when I bought it.
That's right, Matt. I can have that in the cab of the truck, and when I get hungry, I can unwrap it and start eating. I mean, you can't do the same with a carrot stick. That carrot stick starts to get slimy if you leave it in the sun for too long.
I've eaten those.
Suck it,
before, too.
vegans. Suck it, vegans.
Okay. All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank you to our patrons. Patreon.com/burner-return. If you are of means, it's like $4 or something. I promise you change your life. Like I said earlier, we are in the business of one thing. It is to try and do better every fucking day that we're alive. Do better, be better. That's the motto of the Grass Factor. We love you all. We're going to go hang out with the patrons now and let them choose the title of this week's episode. We will see everybody on Thursday. What do we have going on this Thursday? Is this a call-in? What are we doing? I don't even know.
Supposed to be a guest. I haven't heard back confirming it yet. I'm working on that.
Okay. We'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, we'll get up here and we'll jazz hands. Best case scenario,
we'll do it live.
We'll have a guest, and we're gonna I'm sure dissect a hell of a lot of things that go on in their life. DeMay is on husband duty this week. He is going to go have another child, and so we're gonna.
It's not true.
I meant
true.
practice. I meant
It's
practice
actually
that.
Oh, he's
I was
going
gonna say
to
that-
practice.
Going through the
He's going to
motions.
practice having more children. I mean,
physically impossible at this point, but yes.
I want you to
All the
have.
other-
If there's anybody in the world that needs to have more children, it's DeMay. We need more fucking genuinely good people to bring children in the world. Less extremists like Ray and I.
Put that on my shoulders
yeah, you see, Matt,
or on my pelvis.
it would be better if Ryan had more
put that on my
kids.
pelvis.
And
Your wife
and
is going
think
to
about it.
firebomb me. I am not.
No, and think
ever
about it.
gonna fuck-
No, and think about it hard. I mean, imagine me having children.
Oh,
I think
I'd sign up for it
Ray is
tomorrow.
due. I think Ray is due for a Picasso like run. You know, like a
Yes.
like an
Yes.
NBA bench
Yes.
player that goes from city to city every week. Just anyway.
All right. We're out of here. Love y'all. Bye.